Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm your charming, self-proclaimed, yet still humble host, Mukluk, and today I am back in my normal time zone. I just flew back in a couple of hours ago. I'm once again at home, which means I am back in the Eastern time zone. For those of you who've been out of the loop, we went to Seattle a few days ago, and it's alright. Went to Seattle, had some cool experiences, had some lame experiences. But it's a 5-hour flight there, and it's a 5-hour flight back. We just got back. Are your arms tired? No, but my feet, it feels like the bottom of my feet are just bruises. Like walking around just feels like I'm stomping on just bloody stumps. The bottoms of my feet hurt so bad. I'm not even joking.
A little soda pop. It's catchy.
That's a new Patreon noise. What's up, Eternal? Deleting Guardians? Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, Ruby even gave me the okay. Like, hey, hold on. So, here, check this out. This is from official ArenaNet staff. I said, and that's why we should delete Guardian. And she said, you convinced me. I'll tell the team to do it first thing Tuesday. So, Wednesday, room for monks. Just saying. So, goodbye, blue boys and capes. Get that crap out of here. Get it gone! Get it going. How's the shoulder mod? It's alright. It's alright. I will say that the little plushie weighs almost nothing. But having that slight bit of extra weight on my shoulder for, like 5 hours, it definitely weighed on me. Pun intended. Like, I felt kind of off balance after like 5 hours of having a weight on one shoulder and not the other. So when I woke up the next day to go to PAX, I was like, oh my god, like my shoulder was popping. And so I just had him like peeking out of the backpack for PAX. Can we keep Firebrain with only the first tome? No, that's the first to go. Get that out of here. Mike, after you finish deleting Guardian, can you put in a good word to changing Antiquary to something not stupid? I actually did. I did. Dude, I talked to so many people there. And, yeah, they might have just shaken their head as soon as I walked away. But, yeah, I did talk about how stupid Antiquary is. You should have asked for a full rework on Engineer. I love Engineer. Engineer's fine. Learn to play. No monks. We got rid of them after Guild Wars 1. No, bring them back. What are the monk elites? Can you fix the Antiquary paint? I'm not sure. I'll tell you guys about all of that. So basically what we're going to do is the first few minutes of any stream, the viewer number is changing erratically as more people tune in. We are going to be talking about the trip for probably a good hour or more. So we're just going to do the routine here while people file in, take their seats, get their drinks, pop their popcorn, all that good stuff. And then I'm going to pause the alerts, and then we're going to go and dive into story time, where we have a lot to talk about. I just got done running my Guardian through POF hero points, and I'm ready to delete the class too. Let me be prop monk again. There you go. I also love NG, but to me, does it feel like I'm playing one? They need to buff turrets. Turrets were OP at the launch of the game, then they nerfed them, and then they just left them in a broken, shattered mess for the next 10 years. They need to fix turrets back. Who brought popcorn and didn't share with me? I'm not sure, Blue. I'm not sure. Oh, man. I got so much to say. I'm not sure if I'm jet lagged or if I'm like, okay. Because I was in another time zone for 2 days, and now I'm back in my home time zone. So I'm not sure if I'm back to normal or if I'm just like all messed up. I definitely feel kind of out of it right now. I've got an all turrets build for laziness. Yes, buff turrets. There we go. You're just tired? I mean, it's a bit of that. Like, I'm not kidding. The first day, so we woke up the first day at like 4 a.m. Eastern time, and then we flew to Seattle, and we arrived there at 10 a.m. their time. Now, in their time, I woke up at 1 a.m., got to the airport, and it's the airport, so you get there early, and then we landed at 10 a.m. All right, so at 10 a.m., I had already been up for 9 hours. I tried sleeping on the plane. I maybe got an hour of sleep. I don't know, but not much. And then we met my uncle, who drives like a psychopath, apparently. I thought I was going to die. And he was like, oh, I got to show you here. I got to show you this. Got to show you that. And he started like giving us a tour of Seattle. And we were like walking everywhere. And it was cool. We saw this weird, like, market where they throw fish. There's really no other way to explain it. Like, you buy a fish, and the people behind the counter, like, throw it to a guy at another counter, and then he bags it and gives it to you. And I was like, why? And he's like, why what? I'm like, why are they throwing fish? And he's like, they're famous for throwing fish. I'm like, but why did they first throw the fish? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, this is such a weird thing to be famous for. It stank. It stank to high heaven. It smelled terrible. So then they had this, like, underground mall area in that area, that section. And it was funny because people would be like, hey, you wanna? And he's like, I live here. And they would just stop. Like, they were about to say, like, they were about to try to rip us off, and he was just like, I'm local. And they would just stop. And so that was kind of funny. And so anyway, we walked all over the place, and then he took us to a place called Ivar's, that has, like, the best fish and chips in the state. I don't know. I think I pissed my uncle off, though, because I ordered a cheeseburger. And then, like, Ruby from ArenaNet, she was bragging, like, oh, yeah, we don't have mosquitoes out here. Yeah, you know what they've got? Seagulls. They got seagulls, chat. Their pests are many times larger than mosquitoes. So, yeah, you had to protect your freaking food. Because, yeah, there's no refunds if a seagull steals your friggin' french fries. I will say, Ivar's, very mid burger. It kind of tasted like a frozen patty. But the fries. The fries were some of the best fries that I'd ever had. Like, blew me away. For a place that's supposedly famous for seafood, I'm like, why are their fries so good? My wife took a bite and she said something like, oh my god, it's like it's got extra potato. And I just looked at her and I'm like, the potato has extra potato in it. And she's like, I don't even know. But yeah, they were really good. Also, while I was there, because it was like $30 a plate. And so I didn't want to try something new and then just be out $30 if I hated it. But, you know, everyone around the table was like, oh, do you want to try the bite of this? Try a bite of this. So I tried the halibut. It was pretty good. Then I tried, what was it? It was a fish that was served blackened. And I can't remember what it was. But I had a bite of it and I was like, ugh! Like, it was like getting punched in the nose. It might have been salmon. It might have been salmon. My uncle got blackened salmon, and I took a bite of it, and I almost, like, doubled over. I was like, oh my god, that is strong. But yeah, the fries are good. And then, ironically, the French fries with that meal were probably the best food I had out there. All the other food sucked. Anyway, yeah, so we were walking around with him all day. Then he took us to the hotel. Then we got, you know, taken to ArenaNet, and we were walking around there, and then we got brought to the party 2 hours early, and so I was just standing outside in the heat for like 2 hours. Then they brought us in, and then I was like standing the whole time. So like, by the end of the party, I had been awake for 21 hours, and I was standing for most of them, other than the 5 I was on the plane. And dude, my legs felt like bloody stumps. And so, like, the next morning I get up for PAX and I swing my feet out of bed. I was like, oh my god, my feet hurt. Oh my gosh. So, like, that definitely limited our time at PAX. Like on the walk back to the hotel, I had to sit on a bench for a while because they hurt so bad. Like, that, my feet were messed up. That's any convention, I guess. Standing outside, you blind people, tough luck. Then Mike realized he's mid-30s. 84 and holding. Seattle is hilly. Yeah, it really is. It looked like if you let go of the brakes at the wrong intersection, you're gonna go through like 4 red lights and then off a cliff into the ocean. Did we keep the streak alive yesterday? Yeah. If you look at the VODs, I streamed yesterday morning. You can see me laying in a bed talking to a camera, so you know, it was very intimate. Yeah, I streamed for like 45 minutes from the hotel room. Telling stories. Did Chip survive? He did, yes. My friend Chris that came over to feed Chip, he said the first day I came in, I didn't know if you didn't like people wearing shoes in your house, so I kicked off my shoes at the door and Chip saw me and ran. So I was like, maybe your feet just smelled bad. And he's like, maybe. And then the second day he came over to feed Chip, he's like, I didn't even see Chip. He must be hiding from me. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So then we came home, and like we opened the door and Chip was like there, and he's like, wah! And he jumped up, the hair on his back shot up. Like, I think he was just like too relaxed and we scared him. And then he bolted. But after a while he came out and we gave him lots of scritches. But yeah, he's fine. He's fine. He's out there hanging out with my son right now. The days counter's not in the stream title. Yeah, it was already a really long title, so it's fine. Here, hang on a sec. Wait, oh gosh. How many? All right, this is day 2,655 in a row. Man, I threw that line around at PAX a few times, and I think most people just, like, they didn't understand how amazing it was, because they were just like, okay. Okay. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm amazing. Spent an hour with Muck in bed. That's an achievement some of you have. Did Mini Muck enjoy the trip? Parts of it. Parts of it. Because, like, okay, to TLDR it, the tour at ArenaNet, he really liked that. So did my wife. They got to see, he might have been the youngest person ever there, right? He really liked that because they showed, like, the making of the game, which I'll tell you guys about very soon. However, after that was the party, like the community event, and it was all just talking to people. And my kid was the youngest person there by, like, half, you know? Like, there was no one even, like, double his age, I don't think. So he just kind of sat in a chair and wished he had brought a book the whole time. So he said he was bored as heck for those 3 hours. Then, after that, the next day we went to PAX. And at PAX, you ever been to a theme park and there's, like, really long lines everywhere? So you're like, I could stand in line for this roller coaster, but that's going to eat up, like, a significant amount of the time I'm here at the theme park. So you kind of have choice paralysis. That's PAX. Everything that looks really cool there's a massive freaking line. So it was basically either stand in really long lines or stand near Dad and listen to him talk to indie devs for, like, long time. So he got bored of PAX really fast. I'll tell you guys what I ended up doing there. But yeah, both of the guild, for me, PAX was the least interesting part of the trip. But I'll give you guys lots of details. I got lots of pictures. But let me see. Is that the last one? Hang on a sec. One more. Kavitch's, I would go through Artist Lane's House Time. I don't even know if I saw it. There was, like, it was an ocean of people, right? And so I don't even know if I saw, like, every room of the convention center. Like, there was one room we got lost in for a couple of minutes because we couldn't find the exit because it was just a sea of people. But, yeah, we found, like, 3 major rooms. One, some really cool stuff happened that I'm going to share with you in just a minute. But, yeah. Okay, we're almost done with this. Oh, man. You did a good job shilling feature plushies at ArenaNet. Were you there? I mean, I did do that. Okay. Hey, if you're a lurker here going to buy Soto, how do I use your partner code? Oh, I will link it in the chat. Thank you so much for using it. Just click that link right there, and then as long as you're not blocking the cookies or something, that's it. Did you press ArenaNet about the plushie contract? Maybe. Okay, chat. It is story time, and boy howdy, we are gonna be here for a while. I am doing this in YouTube mode because, my gosh, I'm gonna make a video out of it.
Quake me up inside, can't quake up, save me.
I can't pause those. Those are patrons. They pay for my food, so we just have to suffer through that. Okay, here we go. All right, so I got to go to ArenaNet headquarters to delete Guardian and buff Ranger. Now, neither of those things happened because I'm not nearly as important as I thought I was, but I did have a good time. And in this video, I'm going to tell you the story all about how I finally left my house after 7 years. So, for those that don't know, I live near Atlanta, Georgia. That's the state, not the country. I live on the eastern end of the United States. ArenaNet is near the top left. That is about as far away as you could possibly be while still being in the mainland United States. I said mainland. I'm not counting Alaska when I say that, or Hawaii. So, what happened? Basically, last year, they were like, oh yeah, we're doing our yearly thing in Seattle. And I was like, what yearly thing in Seattle? I didn't know about this. Apparently, every year in Seattle, they have a Guild Wars 2 community get-together. And they, basically, you have to get tickets for it. You can get in without a ticket, but they will only let a max number of people in the building, fire hazards and stuff like that. So if you don't have a ticket, you're not guaranteed getting in. You might have to wait outside, and then it's, maybe you get in, maybe you don't. So I was like, last year, I heard about that, and I was like, man, that sounds kind of fun. as you know, like I'm a content creator for Guild Wars 2, big fish, small pond, in this one location. Everybody would know me. It would be cool, you know, feel like a star for a night, and you know, get to chat with the people who made the game. Sounds amazing, right? So I was like, I kind of like to go, and I talked to my wife last year, and you know, at that point, I've been streaming every day for 6 years in a row. I was like, hey, if I was interested in this, would you want to go? And she's like, yes. And I was like, and I was thinking maybe go to PAX because it's like at the same time. She's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, someone wants to get out of the house. All right. And then we asked my son, he's like, why would I want to stay home while you go to this? I'm like, well, if you're afraid of flying, because he's never been flying. I have. And I was like, you are afraid of flying, you know, and you want to stay with Grandpa? He's like, no, I want to go with you to video game stuff. And I'm like, okay. So this year rolls around and we look at the price. Never mind. No, that's too expensive. Cancel the whole thing. That is too damn much. 3 people going to Seattle, staying 2 nights and coming back, about $4,000. Can't do it. Never mind. Cancel the whole thing. Guess I'm not going. Telling my dad this over dinner, and my old man, he's like, well, I got like 1 million frequent flyer miles if you want them. Wait, really? I mean, I was just telling you the story. I didn't think you could actually fix this problem. Honey, how much would it get cheaper if we had 1 million frequent flyer miles? And apparently it was like half the price, because like half of it was in the plane tickets. And so and then he looks and he's like, oh, never mind, I don't have 1 million. I have like 100,000, but you can have them though. And he just gives me these. Apparently he has some credit card where every time he uses it, he gets some frequent flyer miles, and he had like 100K saved up, and that was just enough for 3 people to and from Seattle. So big shout out to my old man. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. It was still costly. The hotel was more expensive because PAX was happening at that time. We had to get the PAX tickets, which were just expensive. We got the tickets for the Seattle thing, or the Guild Wars 2 community event, which my wife forgot to bring. The love of my life, she forgot them in the hotel. And we get there, and luckily, I've just got one of those faces because they still let me in. And I was like, I swear I bought a ticket. And they're like, yeah, okay, right this way, Mr. So Special. Anyway, getting close to the day of the trip, 2 days before we're heading out, and Ruby from ArenaNet messages me and the couple of other partners who said we're going, and she said, hey, we would like to do something special for you guys. Can you be here at 3:30? I'm looking at what time my plane's landing. I was like, I think so? I wish I had known about this earlier. I would have scheduled a different flight, but yeah, whatever you're gonna do, I want it, but I'm a try. And she's like, all right, so you wear pants? I wore pants that day, like I'm not now. Anyway, so she says, we want to give you guys a tour of ArenaNet. And I'm like, I want to be given a tour of ArenaNet. So she's like, okay, we'll arrange for transportation to and from here. So, and I'm like, oh, that's fantastic, because we're not gonna have a car, and we have to pay for like, you know, taxi, stuff like that. And she's like, great, here's my login. I was like, for what? And she's like, this is my Uber login. Just get yourself something. Don't get anything too expensive and get over here. I was like, okay. And I'm like, 1, I have to install Uber. 2, they're trusting me with their Uber login. 3, do they have limos? So like all these thoughts are going through my head. And so I'm like frantically trying to install Uber and figure out the app because I've never used it, and not burn their entire bank account at the same time. And I'm like, they're really trusting me with this. And so anyway, figure it out. We get an Uber, tell the guy to meet us at the hotel. Didn't realize the hotel had 2 entrances. I was on the wrong side. I made this poor guy run around looking for us. He found us. I apologize for being stupid. He takes us to ArenaNet. We get to the ArenaNet building, which it's like a big building with many offices in it. ArenaNet is one of the offices in this big building. And we're outside, and at that point, it's time to suit up. And by suit up, I mean strap on the plushie. I had told people if they wanted to find me in a crowd, I would have the little orange traffic cone on my shoulder, and this was made possible thanks to this harness thing that I am holding. And what this is like a shoulder pad with some straps and a seat that a stuffed animal can sit in. Made by Bluebell. Shout out to Bluebell in the chat. She crocheted this out of that. She 3D printed this with her hands. It's amazing. It wasn't perfect, but for something she conjured out of thin air, boy howdy, it did the job. You can see me, I'm wearing it right there, and you can barely, you can see like the kind of pull on my hoodie right there. I had to attach it to my belt loop for it to stay on, and you can see like it's going up there, and then he's on my shoulder. And dude, I was making micro adjustments to the little guy like for the next 5 hours, but it worked, and everybody said they loved it. Even Ruby was like, he is so cute. How is he staying on? And then I was like, oh, she's like, oh, I gotta go, and she was gone. So she never found out how he was staying on, but she was kind of a blur the whole time. She was running all over the place. So we get to ArenaNet, and we get into the building, And I immediately see a couple people sitting in the lobby. I didn't immediately recognize them. Turns out they were brand new ArenaNet content creators, or relatively new. And I believe it was Helvetica and their partner, whose name I forget. I'm sorry, I'm a terrible human being, from Guild Wars 2 University. And I've got a picture of them later in this thing. And they were sitting there, and they were like, "Hi, Muck." And I'm like, "Hello." And they're like, "We know you. I don't think you know us." And I'm like, "I do not. Nice to meet you." I went up and I shook their hand, and I was like, "Are you here for the partner thing?" And they're like, "Yeah." And there was one person that kept kind of staring at us through the glass of a nearby window and peeking around the corner. And I was like, "Are they another partner?" Turns out it was Darkbringer. It was Darkbringer who was creeping on us, and I didn't know who he was until later because I didn't have a name to the face. But Darkbringer was like, "All right, yeah, okay, they're alive out there," and he was just kind of checking on us from time to time. But he was like peeking in on us. He thinks I didn't see him, but I saw him. Dark, if you're out there, I saw you seeing me seeing you. Anyway, so we're chilling there in the lobby, and some time passes, and I get this photo while I'm there in front of the thing, and I posted this on Twitter. And what was my exact words? Because it blew up. It blew up. I posted this, and I said, "I'm about to buff Rangers so hard." 1.3K likes. Chat, this is doing numbers. I think a lot of people misunderstood me, and they thought I just got hired at ArenaNet like Roy. No, that joke was dangerous. I gave people the wrong idea. Anyway, so I'm here at ArenaNet. We're waiting in the lobby. We're waiting for more people to show up. There's me and the boy. Boy was there as well. Snebzor walks in. Now, this picture was taken later on, but Snebzor walks in, and I said, "Hey," to him. I'm like, "Yo, Sneb." And I'm talking with Sneb, talking with him for a bit. And then, who else? Jebro walked in. Dude, I tried to get a picture with everyone. However, I also didn't have the guts to interrupt people. And because I was constantly waiting on openings, I did not get a picture with everybody. However, I will tell you, I saw Jebro Unity. I saw Emmy.exe there. I saw Malcolmist. It's funny. Malcolmist came up and introduced themselves to me. And I was like, "Hi." And they're like, "Hey, Malk." I'm like, "Hello." And I was like, "I'm so sorry. I don't know who you are." And they're like, "It's Malcolmist." And I was like, "Malcolmist." And to which I was like, "You look nothing like your Twitter profile picture." And they laughed, and they were like, "Okay, fair." I was like, "Yeah, I did not know what you looked like in real life." And so then, we had some back and forth and talked and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. But Malcolmist was pretty awesome. Malcolmist also had this big poster. Oh, can I show it off? Let me see. They did, I think it was Malcolmist. They brought in this big, like, handmade banner thing. Give me a second. Hold on. I think they probably posted it on Blue Sky. I think they're one of the people that, like, left. Was this it? They walked in and showed, I think, nope, that is not it. That is really cool, though. Oh, I see Shy Pash. They showed, dang it, why did they not have a picture of this here? They show, oh, there's them at the ArenaNet building. Oh, this is it. Okay, this thing, Malcolmist was holding this like a giant flag. I don't know if they handmade this or printed or what, but this is like artwork of, I think, the devs' characters. But they came in and went like this and showed it, and Ruby was like, "Oh!" And I was like, "Wait, what? What is this?" I didn't know what this was. But Malcolmist apparently brought this massive gift that they and other people had made, and it was gorgeous. And again, this thing was the size of like a flag. It was huge. So Malcolmist comes in with this thing, which of course made all the rest of us look freaking terrible. Let's see, who else? There was Emmy there, and Jebro, and Snebzor, and Malcolmist, and me, and a whole bunch of new partners. Like there was Guild Wars 2 University, a Voxter, Nienna Engelbert, and like some of these. I'm looking. I've got a list over here because I didn't know names to faces. So anyway, we all get in there. And we're in the lobby, and then David from ArenaNet, which I'm gonna go. Let me see where. I think it's in the last photo. Give me a sec. Is it this one? One sec. No. Is it this one? Where are you, David? Oh, okay. Here we go. This guy's name is David. So he's at ArenaNet, and he comes in, and he apparently works with Ruby on some stuff there. Like they're partners in what they do, but Ruby's the one that is more customer facing. So David comes in, and he takes us all into this big conference room. And he's like, hey, so excited to have you guys here. We've never done like a tour like this before, but Mukluk's really important. So, no, he didn't say that. He's like, but, you know, we saw so many of you were coming out this year and we wanted to do this. And, you know, can't wait to show you guys some stuff. And hopefully you guys will find this really cool. And we're like really excited. Except Jebro, he's like, how is that thing staying on your shoulder? I was like, I'll tell you later. And David says, now, I'm not going to take you guys to any rooms with super secret projects. But we might be walking past rooms with super secret projects, and I don't want something I'm not expecting to be in the background of a photo. So please keep your phones in your pockets as we are walking. Like, you can take all the pictures you want in the lobby, but please, phones in pockets when we're not in the lobby. And I was like, okay. And we go down the hallway, and immediately Roy pulls out his phone and starts playing with it. And I was like, Roy, phone in your pocket. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was so excited to meet the devs. And he puts his phone away. So I reprimanded him. So we walked past a few doors. One said like Guild Wars 3, one said Guild Wars 4, one said Tyrion Fight Tactics. And we get back to this other door, and we go in there, and it's like a room that's like for testing. And it's got a whole bunch of computers. They've got eye trackers, they've got cameras, there's microphones, and basically they just tell us about this room. And this room, essentially, they get a whole bunch of people that are like professional testers. How do you get that job? I want that job. And he's like, we get people in here, they hit them with an NDA, and they have them play unreleased stuff, essentially. And the idea of the room was, if you're in there, like, let's say there's a big lore reveal, something that's supposed to make you go, oh my God, Timey was Bram's father, whatever. And the eye tracker and like the camera are supposed to see if they're getting what they want out of you. Like if you gasp, if your eye is looking on the right thing, maybe you just miss it because there's no yellow paint, things like that. It was pretty cool. And Emmy asked a really good question while we were in there. Emmy's like, how do you know if you get people in here that are just like hardcore lore nerds or hardcore like gamers, like they just want to kill bosses, stuff like that? And he goes, we actually have a lot of our testers filed under one or the other, but sometimes it's funny to flip them. Like have the lore nerds do something that's like really difficult and have the gamers do something lore related and see what their reactions are. But they use this room to basically, see if they're getting the reactions out of people they want to get out of them. And I thought that was really cool. So they basically tell us about, all of this and how it works. And then they take us on to the next room. And the next room was the mocap room, aka the motion capture studio. You guys ever seen those scenes where, like, in the making of whatever movie, and they've got a person in like a suit with little like balls all over them, and they're acting, and then and then it gets thrown into a computer, and then out comes like Gollum or Smaug or something like that? They had a motion capture room, and it was this room with like the really smooth floors and walls, and then there was just like a ring of camera stands around the entire thing, all pointed into the middle. And there was like a coat rack over on the side with those Velcro suits. And basically people would go in there and put on the Velcro suits, and then they had these little Velcro balls, and they would stick them on the suit. And the balls were covered in reflective tape. And so as you ran around in that open area in between all the cameras, the light would bounce off the tape, and then on the computer, the person would start by doing a T-pose, and they would go, okay, this ball is right hand, this ball is right elbow, and they would label each of them, and then you get like a wireframe, and then they say, go nuts, and the person could run around and jump around and fight and do whatever. Balls, yes, balls. And it was really cool. It was really cool. But we got to ask questions, and my son embarrassed me by asking, he raised his hand, and they're like, yes, and he goes, if you've got a scene where someone's like falling off a cliff, do you like stack up a lot of stuff and then just like drop them? And she's like, no, we have safety guidelines. We can't just like drop people on like from 10 feet onto the floor. And I was like, oh my God, I can't even act like I don't know him. He looks just like me. And I'm just like, Jesus. And then she's like, any other questions? And I was like, I got one. And she's like, what's up? And I said, what is your favorite thing that you guys have made in here that made it into like a cutscene that we've seen? And she's like, ooh, that's a good one. And she goes, maybe when Bangar was fighting Ritlock, Because apparently that was recorded by two dudes in Velcro suits pretending to beat the crap out of each other and rolling around on the floor in there. And she said it was really difficult figuring out, quote unquote, whose balls were whose, because they were all mixed up. But basically, the cutscene of Bangar and Ritlock throwing hands for a few minutes was recorded in that room that we were in, and it was two dudes in Velcro suits. Yeah, they said that room was mostly for cutscenes, not for, like, I asked them, I was like, when you guys made all the new spear animations for Janthier, was that in this room? And she's like, no, the animators did that. We didn't use, like, live people for that. But apparently, that room was one of 4 mocap studios in Seattle. David was bragging about it. And so if they ever have an idea for like a cutscene and they want to record it, they have some of the fastest turnaround time because it's all in the building. It's all right there. They just get some people in the Velcro suits. You record the movements, then they add the voice acting later, because it doesn't have to be the voice actors that do it. They could just add the voice actors stuff in later. But yeah, they have a really fast turnaround time for that. So the mocap. We were done with the mocap room, and they said, please don't trip on the cords. Every camera is $600, and there's like 80 of them in here. And we ended up going on to the next room, which was... Forgive me, I remember the name. I remember what it was. I don't remember the name. Foley? I think it was Foley was the name of it. And the room was all about sound. And basically, we went in there, and dude, it was kind of creepy. Because we go in there, and they close the door, and it's dead quiet. You couldn't hear an air conditioner. You couldn't hear anything. And it was like, they said, you know what's above us? So we're like, what? And they're like, the server room. And we're like, really? Because it was just dead quiet. And like it was like a new level of quiet I had never experienced. And they're like, so in this room, and the room looked like it had a pile of junk. There was like a broken bicycle. There was a porcelain toilet like against the wall, not for use. There was like just bits and bobs of all kinds of crazy stuff in the Foley room. And they were like, in this room, we make sound effects. And he goes, and today I've got an example for you. And he takes the bicycle that's broken, but there's one tire on it. And he sets the part of a bike on the floor, spins the tire. Then he takes a strip of leather and pushes it against the tire like this. So it was like, that's my best attempt. And I remember I was like, that kind of sounds like a roller beetle. And he goes, all right, come with me. He takes us to another room with a computer and tweaks the sound a bit and then pulls in a roller beetle. And it's like, chirp, 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 chirp. And I was like, oh my freaking God, that was a roller beetle. So he made the sounds the roller beetle makes by basically spinning a bicycle tire and hitting it with like a leather strap and then like playing with the pitches. It was really neat. It was really cool. And then like there was some sentimental stuff in there. He was like, do you see that thing? And there was this thing on the wall that was like, it almost looked like a flail. Imagine like a stick and like a long strap. And then on the end of it is this like sphere, but it was like, circle, and it was like one circle going this way and another circle going the other way. And they were like, and it was like charred, like it had been burned. And they're like, do you see that? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, over 10 years ago, when Guild Wars 2 first came out, we needed sound effects for the fire spells. And some guys, professionals, don't do this at home. Professionals, of course. Some guys took this to one of their yards and set it on fire and started swinging it around. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. And those sounds became every fire SFX in the game in some way, shape, or form. So this burnt, scorched flail hanging on the wall was the source of every fire sound effect we've ever heard in Guild Wars 2. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then my son's like, what are those shoes? And he points, and there's this really giant, like almost clown shoe sized shoes on a shelf. And he's like, oh, these. And he picks them up. And it's like, imagine a shoe, but it's got like a layer of leather and another layer and another layer and another layer and another layer. So it's just like, there's not like tread on the bottom. There's just like 40 layers of leather. Like this thing is just like, boom, when you stomp it. And he goes, meet the original Char footprints. And basically, oh, hi, Noxxi. Basically, those shoes, when he would stomp them on the ground, it made this really thick, reverberating noise. Like it was something way heavier than what it looked like. And those shoes were what they used to make the original Char footprint sounds when they put them down. What's up, Noxxi? Why are you sending me YouTube links right now? What is this? Is this relevant? Playing with... Oh! I had no idea this was recorded. Behind the sound. I guess that's the flail. Doesn't look the same when it's I don't know, this is only 8 years ago. This might be more recent. That's the one. That's it right there. That is it. That is it. I saw like when he went back, that's the 2 rings. That is the one. That's the thing that we saw in the studio. Imagine trying to not set the microphone. Yeah, and they're like professionals. So that was really cool. So we saw we see the Foley room. It was really neat. And they're like, any questions? And I said, have you guys ever been like trying to get one sound and then you accidentally make like the coolest laser blaster sound you've ever heard in your life? And the guy's like, yes! And I'm like, and you go running out of the room like, we gotta add a laser. And they're like, we don't need a laser for this. And they're like, you need this laser, trust me. And he's like, yes! And he's like, we just have to save those for when we need them. But then they showed us a video of one guy in the room that had no sound and had like a jar of like slime. And he was just sticking his hand in it. He's just like... And, you know, and he was just doing like fart noises with it. And he's like, I don't know what we're going to use these for, but this was our day at work yesterday. And we were all laughing. Because it's like, imagine you're just playing with slime and someone walks in and you're like, I'm working. Get out, close the door. You know? Like, that was like what they were doing. So yeah, they had that. But then they were like, we're short on time, which was a lie. And they're like, all right, so we all leave the Foley room. And we go to this room. Chat, there's like a snack bar, like a lunchroom area. And we go in there and they're like, all right, take anything you want. Chat, they had like 3 fully stocked fridges of soda and fruit and like candy bars. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I have never worked at a place that was this generous to my snacking needs. This is crazy. So, you know me. I got a Coke, and it had been hours since I ate, so I got like a cereal bar or something just to top me off. And then they were like, all right, we didn't know some of y'all were bringing family, so I'm sorry. We don't have goodie bags for all the family members, but all the partners, bare minimum, we got you goodie bags. And thus, the bribes began, chat. The bribes began. And they gave us all baggy waggies with stuff in them. Now, my bag has been mixed with all the stuff I got at the meetup. So I'm going to show you all the bribes a little bit later on. But we got a lot of cool stuff in that room and snacks. So later, David asked me, he's like, Muck, what was your favorite thing you saw on the tour? What was your favorite room? I was like, definitely the room where you gave me free snacks and a bribe. And he laughed. I'm like, okay, the Foley room. I really like the Foley room. That was cool. So it really, the tour could be split into like 3 different things. We did like the Foley room, and we did the mocap room, and we did the room where they like had like the testers there. The live stream room. Oh, you are right. Thank you. That's my wife in the chat reminding me. There was another one we stopped by. It was for a shorter period of time. But you guys know whenever they do like the live chats on the Twitch channel and stuff like that, they took us to that room after the Foley room. So we went in there, and it was funny because Ruby was telling us, they were like, yeah, it gets to be so hot in here. It's like there was like a server in the closet, and she was talking about how they had all these issues with like air conditioning problems in there. She really just ranted about that room for a long time. But it was cool seeing the actual physical space where they get on camera and talk about like the upcoming stuff that they add to the game and stuff like that. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Did you get to see the toaster? No, I asked if I could see Roy's toaster, and they said no, it's locked away right now. It's locked away. Let's see. Hit him with something in person. So we let's see. We left that room, and then they took us to a bus that was outside. They took us to a bus. And there was a bunch of ArenaNet staff that had been like actually working and not just like playing with us that were already on the bus. And then they put all us partners on the bus and they drove us all to the event. And Ruby's like, we got to hurry. We're short on time. We get there 2 hours early. And we're outside this nice air-conditioned building, and Ruby's like, you can't go in yet. I gotta go get it ready. And she's like, I'll see you guys in like 2 hours. And I'm like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, go find a tree to stand under or something. Not her exact words. I'm paraphrasing here. But they go inside, and so like me and Sneb and Emmy, all of us are just outside in the heat. And I'm just like, really? Okay, so like we tried to find some shade, and David was like, don't worry, we'll let you, it was like 5. And he's like, we'll let you in at 6 and we'll do some like party games. I was like, okay, that was a lie. That never happened. I didn't forget, David, if you see this. So yeah, that was a lie. So we found the shadiest shade that we could, and we were all just like chatting and stuff like that. And we started hearing like a ruckus on the other side of the building. Cause like, it was like when you walk up to the building, they put up a sign that said like, you know, stand here for the Guild Wars 2 event. And then there was another sign that said VIPs go around back, but their bus just dropped us off around back. So we were around back. So we were back there, and that was where I took some of these other pictures. Hold on. Oh, that's not it. Give me one sec. Hold on. Where is my photos? Okay, this should be it. Okay. So that was at the studio, and that was me and Boy at the studio. All right, so this is me and Snebzor behind the building that they told us to, you know, stand here for 2 hours. So we were just standing here and chilling, and I was like, yo, Sneb, I gotta get a picture with you. And he's like, yeah, sure. And so we were chatting, and we talked for a long time. It was nice. That's me with my loot bag. That's the plushie. Bluebell, here's your handiwork, trying desperately to keep him on my shoulder. Roy! So Roy showed up near the end of the tour, and I was like, Roy, you gotta let me get a picture. And he comes up and claps me on the back, and we got a photo with Roy. So we got, dude, you know how we always joke around when he's streaming, and we're like, oh yeah, this is Roy Marks? When we were on the bus, Roy was one of the last people to get on the bus, and the other people that worked at ArenaNet are like, oh, who's this partner? Is this Roy? Oh no, I think it's Roy. And I'm like, that joke is here too? Are you serious? Like, all the other people that worked there were calling him Roy. And I'm like, wow, okay. Compression's like, yo, what? I'm not judging. Dude, I had the old man shoes. So many, dude, there's literally part of a thread on the subreddit for Guild Wars 2 about my New Balance shoes. Yes, I'm old. Bite me. So then other people started like showing up and just like ignoring the VIP sign and wandering around. I don't know if any of you remember a user that was in my chat for years. He hasn't been here lately, but he was here for years, named Dr. This is Doc. This person told me their name, and like the horrible human being I am, I have forgotten it. I am very sorry if you're here. I loved meeting you. I forgot half of the names I learned this day. I learned way too many. So they show up and they chatted with us out back for a bit. And at this point in time, they started giving out these bags to everyone who was there. And they also gave us all a piece of paper. Hold on, do I have the shirt in here? It might be, I do have the shirt in here. Okay, so they gave us all a piece of paper. And on the piece of paper, hold on, I have to cover one line of sensitive information. They said, write your name, your phone number, your size, and circle one of these. So I circled the one that had the Visions of Eternity logo. There's also Metal Legion, and there's one of some like Quaggins under an umbrella in the rain. And you choose one of them. And we're like, okay. And then a little while later, they literally had someone there making shirts. Like immediately, they gave you whatever you asked for. So like pretty much everyone there got a shirt. So this is mine. I got one of these in my size. So I got that. Wrong choice. I'm very happy with my choice. Muck you. So I got that, and then we got the bag. So this bag was from being there at the event. I would circle all three, then you would get none because you're greedy. Then this guy shows up. Apparently, this is a fan-made Choya. This person, you know what, I say guy, this might be a gal. I can't even tell because the costume covers so much of the body. I'm not sure. This person has apparently been showing up with insane costumes since 2008, chat. 2008. I don't even know how many years this is, but people were bragging about him. So this Choya walks up and I'm like, can I get a picture? And they're like, yes, you may. And then they walked up and I took a picture. There was also someone there in a char suit that showed up way later on. I didn't manage to get a photo of that one, but they do have a picture on the subreddit. So at this point, just random people are coming up to me and they're like, yo, I love your videos. And I'm like, I love your taste in videos. And like, can I get a photo? And I was like, I'd love to. So at this point, my ego is getting inflated to an unhealthy degree. Just lots of people are coming up. They're smiling. They're asking for pictures. And I'm like, sure. And I told all of them, because like half of them wanted us to use their camera, and half of them are just like, can I get a copy of the picture? Because my wife was taking the photos. And I was like, sure, I'll drop the whole collection on Twitter and the Discord when I get home. So a lot of these photos, people are going to be, you know, copying and saving them for me after I showed them. Where's your Mulan pose? So I asked people, I'm like, you want me to be act normal or goofy? And if they said goofy, I did the Mulan pose. You're going to see some of them. Muck's head got so big his hairline started to look normal again. All right, chat. This guy's here almost every day. Make your guess. Who is this pompous? Never mind, he just gave it away. That's Nog Dog. And he said, do the Emperor thing. So that's Nog Dog, looking very pompous. And that's me. The plushie is starting to fall over at this point in time. Nice shoes, thank you. And you can see the guy making the t-shirts in the back. They've got the t-shirt making machines back there. Then these kind folks walk up, and they gave me a card. It's in my loot somewhere. It's in here somewhere. Hold on. No, not that bag. I've got bags. I've literally got bags and bags and bags. Oh, I found it. All right, they give me a card. And the card says, best wishes for a happy birthday and a wonderful year ahead. Happy birthday. Thanks for all you do. Here's to keeping the streak alive. From Jeremy and Sarah. And I've got their usernames here. And chat, one of the best gifts I got the whole time I was there. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Yeah, they gave me a $25 Panda Express gift card. One of my favorite places to get fat. Wonderful. So shout out to them. They gave me that. And yeah, they were awesome. So they were there, and then we took a picture with them. And you see this? They had a plushie too. At this point in time, I started seeing other Memucks in the wild for the first time ever. So this guy had a plushie on his backpack. Then she had me sign a book. Apparently she had a book and she had been collecting signatures at this thing for years. This guy came up and he's like, sign my bag, please. I'm like, okay. And he's like, use my back. I'm like, okay. You say he's loving it. And this person showed up and they asked for the Mulan pose. So we did that. And then I guess my wife just snapped this picture as well. I'm just talking with some folks. And in between one of these photos, I was like, man, there's a lot of people walking around the building. And I turned around and I realized the event has begun. Like, I had been, like, I had people around me for so much. I didn't realize they had opened the doors and, like, the flood had come into the building. And I didn't realize because of that. So, took a picture with them. And, all right, chat. This is another person who is here every single day. Dude, he looks like Jim Carrey, the mask here. This person is here almost every day, and they have a Patreon sound. That's your hints. Guess. Who is it? This guy came up behind me and made his Patreon noise in my ear, and I was like, oh my God. No one. No. It's Flu Girl? She's not a patron. It's Niavalar, the guy that makes the Wookiee noises. He came up and went in my ear, and I'm like, oh my God. And I spun around, and I was like, oh my gosh. So that's Niavalar. So that's him. Yeah, after he ASMR Wookieed me. Yeah, no, it's not Flu Girl. Lol. So he was there. And at this point, we start getting a really big crowd. Another person, this person with fine taste, comes up with a plushie attached to her purse, and she goes, I can't detach it, hands me her whole purse, and asks me to sign the plushie. First time I'd ever done that. So this is me trying to sign a plushie and not ruin the plushie. I have never done that before. So do that, take a picture with her, and there's her purse Memuck. So he's just hanging there. And I get a picture with them. These two fine fellas came up and got a picture with me. And this guy came up and got a picture with me. He said, just act normal. I'm like, yes, sir. So I just did a normal pose there. This guy. Okay. This guy comes up to me. Chat, okay, this is a freaking story and a half. This dude walks up to me and he goes, hey, do you remember running a convergence with me February 2025? I was in the South Lane. Muckety, no, I don't remember being in the Convergence February 2025 in the South Lane. What do you mean? And he goes, you accused me of being a copycat because my character looks like it has a traffic cone on its head and your character looks like it has a traffic cone on its head. And I'm like, I don't doubt that I said that, but I just wanted you to know I had the traffic cone first. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm the copycat. He's like, all right, would you sign my traffic cone? And I'm like, sure. And then he has me sign his traffic cone, and then he hands me, okay, I gotta see if I can find it. Hold on. It's in the loot bag somewhere. Okay, here we go. He hands me a physical toy traffic cone. He just brought this to give to me. I mean, it made a lasting impression. So I have this now. So I have that in my loot bag. So he gave me that. And also, if you see, he's got a sheet of stickers of traffic cones. And he was giving everybody one, and I stuck one on my badge right here. Clearly knows how to promote himself. Clearly. How does it feel to be Beyonce for a day? Pretty good, honestly. It felt pretty good. So I signed the traffic cone. These two fine folks were from Guild Wars 2 University. Do any of you guys know of GW2 University? These two are new in the partner program, and they were representing GW2 Uni. So if you've ever heard of that group, that's them, the two of them. But they are new, so if you haven't, don't feel bad. And this guy, okay. This guy made an impression, chat. This guy comes up to me, and he goes, hey, I don't really know you. And I'm like, okay, why are you talking to me? And he goes, my brother loves your stuff. And I was like, I think I see where this is going. He goes, can you take a picture with me so I can piss him off? And I was like, I would love to. And I was like, you want me to act like you're the king? And he's like, yes. I'm like, okay. So we take this photo purely for the purpose of sending it to his brother to make him angry. This guy didn't even like me. So, yeah, that's a good brother. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like proper brother material. So, we do this photo purely to make somebody mad. This lady comes up. She was like 4 foot of energy. She comes up, and she was like, would you sign this, please? And I was like, yeah. So, I sign her Mimuk. She had a Mimuk. As you can see, mine's on my shoulder. And then, you know, we go to do, she's like, all right, let's do a picture. But then, like, she squatted even lower. So you know that meme that it's like how to talk to short people? And it's like, you know, do not do this, you know, do not lean over. I'm like, that's playing through my head. And I'm like, is it rude if I squat down a little bit? Because I don't think I'm in the picture right now. And like, that's playing in my head. I'm like, I don't want to be rude. But I feel like I'm not in the photo if I don't scrunch a little bit. She was so compact, but she was awesome. She had big assertive energy for sure. But yeah, we signed her hat and said hi to her. She was very sweet. This was another person that was very brief. They just came up, asked for a picture. I said, you got it. We took a picture. Then, okay, Nog Dog comes back and he has a new name tag. And this one says, Skimmer greater than Skiff. And he goes, can you take a picture with me again? And we send this to Flute Girl to make her mad. And I was like, I would love to. So we took this one purely to crop it and send it to Flute to make Flute mad. I haven't done it. No, take a screenshot of the screen right now. You can do it. I haven't done it yet. Could have done a better angle. Look, we were working with what we had, okay? All right. So we did that just for that. Bow tie. Yeah, he was looking sharp, man. He was looking sharp. Okay. This is Darkbringer. Darkbringer is one of the guys that makes the UI over at ArenaNet. He was very shy. He was also very nice. We talked to him for a while, and he, we were talking about stuff in game, and I was like, oh, shoot, I feel like if I'm talking to you, I should have something to give you to do. And he's like, what do you got? And I was like, and I'm trying to think of a UI problem. And, you know, I can't just say delete Guardians. He's not in charge of Guardians. And the best thing I could think of on spur of the moment was the musical notes for the Troubadour. I was like, I have had so many people contact me and they're confused by those notes. Some think they represent 4, some think they represent 6, no one thinks they represent 3. Also, maybe move them over like the hit point bar or something. And he's like, I'll think about it. And I'm like, okay. So that was the feedback I gave him. He looks different without all the infusions, right? Hang on. What's going on? One sec. We've got something throwing an alarm in the other room. 1 minute. All right, no, the house is not on fire. Friends, we've got a power supply box that does power our router that is freaking out right now. And I need to restart it. If it ends the stream, I will be back as soon as possible. I'm gonna try to fix this real fast.